Welcome to Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days, and I am hydrated.
I just want to say, previous to starting this, said I'm going to take a drink right now, and Ty just stared off out his window, didn't care, and then as soon as I start to talk, takes a big swig. What is it with you?
Could it have been on purpose?
100%.
100%.
Such a good.
Do you know who's? I don't know who's sung it.
I don't actually know what it's from.
It's just a song.
I know that part.
That's the only, yeah, that's it. That's how I know all my music. I know a part.
Anyway, episode 84, Forever Exiled.
Yes, it is.
Pretty good number.
I like it.
16 away from the end.
That's right. We're capping it off.
We're almost there.
Retiring at the top.
Big shout out to all of our Patreons. Thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast. If you're curious what our Patreon is, you can find the information down below, but it gets you access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast, where we talk about more stuff and things, mostly PoE, but stuff and things. How was your week, Ty?
How was my week? I had a good week. Busy week. Had some good me time this week, which was good. And then, let's see. I guess this is like within the last 2 weeks, but our stairs to the deck that we have in the back are, so in our backyard, our deck is on the second level, and then we have stairs that goes down to our yard. And we knew when we bought the place, the inspector said, hey, like, listen, the stairs are falling apart. But, you know, like, things are falling apart all the time. They last forever. So anyway, we're going. The stairs seem totally fine. We've never had an issue, never creaked, never anything, rock solid. All of a sudden, I'm going down the stairs and whoosh, like a stair just completely gives out and there's nothing there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So the stairs are falling apart. It definitely is rotting. So anyway, we have a neighbor that has a company that does all of that kind of stuff. So we were happy to employ them. And they were happy enough to come quickly, even though they're very busy. And while we're waiting for them, it was about a week wait for them to get started on the project. Not paying attention at all. Dun, 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 dun. Gonna go water the plants. You know what? Not vacuum the lawn. You vacuum lawns. What do? You mow the lawn. Going to mow the lawn.
Either or.
Up. Yeah.
Either or. Both work.
Got to go
work.
yell at the kids for something probably. So I go up the stairs and another. Oh man, like the whole thing just fell kind of sideways. And anyway, we got some new stairs. Well, they discovered, of course, we have like rotting wood under the deck itself. So they replaced what they could. Kind of a patch job, a long-term.
How many steps down is it for yours?
I don't know, 12.
6. Oh, it's a full flight?
It's a full flight. It's a second story deck, yeah.
And did they get all replaced then? All of the stairs?
The stairs are done. They still have work to come back to do patch jobs. They broke a thing or two while they're fixing things, you know. So they'll be coming back.
Do you think they did a good job though?
Yeah.
Like if I was to want to replace stairs on my patio, would you suggest them?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they're very good. Yep. And so that was a thing. That was neat. It was a pain in the butt to take the dog out because we just let her out the back in the backyard, and it's all sealed, right? We have fences all the way around.
Sealed, so, wow.
Well, what do you call it?
I don't know, fenced?
Okay, yeah, fenced. So,
sealed makes me think like it's airtight.
No one's getting out of this place. So
no.
We're used to letting Riley out the back, but then it felt like back in the apartment days where if the dog
Riley's
needed to
the
go
dog,
out,
not a child, just
right.
In case anybody.
Yeah. And so my favorite family, not just kidding. And so it reminded me of the apartment days when, like, if the dog needed to go out, well, I'm going out with her. So, yeah, it was good. It was good. But then also we did our taxes a little bit late this year, so we just dropped them off at H&R Block, and I couldn't resist. I had pita pit for the first time since COVID. Made me think that we were just gonna like have a Monday night right there. It was awesome. So I had 2 pitas.
I did
delicious.
Skip the dishes pita pit maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. One evening when I was home by myself, I was like, I'm going to do a pita pit.
And was it good?
It was. It was good, yeah.
Remember my pita pit grumpy experience during games night one time where I swear they sent me like a micro machine pita. Anyway.
Every pita pit experience, you get grumpy about something.
No, this one was great. Anyway, I had a good week, yeah.
That's good.
How about you? Do you have a good week? I hope not.
I had a great week. So let's see. I went for my ozone therapy, which I told you was coming up. That was Monday.
Yes. Wow.
Yep. I sent pictures to my wife and she was not happy about the pictures. She was like, you just remember you chose to do this because you've got like an IV in your arm and then you watch them pull the blood out and it goes into this little container and then they infuse it with ozone and then they put it back into you.
Uh-huh.
Where he put the needle in too, he got it right at a valve. So it wasn't draining the blood fast enough. So he had
Sure.
to pull back a little bit on the needle while it was in there as I pumped my hand to get it to like
Yeah.
suck the blood up. But I did that. So there's a 1, 5, and 10 pass, and he didn't want me to do a 10 pass for the very first time. He wanted me to start on a single pass, and then if I want to work my way up to a 10 pass, because that's what I want to try. I want to try the 10 pass, which they do that 10 times. So they pull 2 liters in total of the blood out.
And what does this do again?
So it's used so there's certain diseases that it's actually used for, and it's quite effective. But the reason that I wanted to try it is because I had read that it was quite good for your health in general, but really good for your immune system. And I was like, well, I don't mind trying it. I'm kind of open to stuff. So I went and did it.
And this is short term or long term? Like, is this a practice you have to keep up?
Well, so if I actually did it consistently, it's like maybe once or twice a year. So it's not like you're doing it often. It's just, and a lot of people do it more when they travel. So it gives your immune system a big boost. So if you've been away for a bit or are about to go away, just helps your immune system. So we'll see.
Sounds like you live in a world of swords, dragons, and magic. Go on.
Sorcery.
Those are my kind of books.
Okay, so speaking of grass, because
While we're on the subject.
Yeah. I am pretty sure. Okay, so first off, my front yard, I redid the whole thing last summer, right? Stripped it right down, redid all of it.
Oh, really?
It's been fantastic. So my neighbor right beside me in the last 3 years has had to redo his lawn. This is now the second time because he just didn't do a very good job the first time. I have a feeling that he spread some of his crappy seed onto my lawn, like that it blew onto my lawn or something.
Sure. Well, sometimes they're not careful on the edges. They're just going full blast with whatever machine they use.
Yeah, but I got hedges and like trees and stuff between them. I'm not really sure, but there is. I picked it out and I sent pictures of it to my landscaping guy. I was like, "What is coming out of my grass?" And it's like a cheaper version of a type of fescue that people do grow, but it looks like asparagus almost, like it really, really small ones.
Okay.
And it makes me wickedly angry that it is in my lawn. It's everywhere through my lawn. Like I'm going to have to redo tenacity just to try and kill that off, because it will. It's actually it's one of the type of things that tenacity will take care of. But now I got to redo my lawn, like that part. Oh, I was not happy. So not impressed.
Won't your roots just push it out over time?
No, they're thick, man. These ones that are coming out, it's not like it's just 1 or 2. They're spread throughout, and you'd know them if you saw them. Like they literally look like a miniature piece of asparagus.
So are you planning on going, like, I don't know, buying a farm, an acreage somewhere where you have no neighbors?
No, but I got to figure something out. I'm not sure.
Murder.
I don't actually know that's an option. Speaking of murder, these bunnies, I swear to God. First off,
how do you know it's not the bunnies?
No, it's not the bunnies. Chris threw carrots on my lawn and then sent you a video of it. So I went and took the carrots and threw them back on his lawn.
Uh-huh.
I got home today, like just 2 hours before we started this.
Yeah.
There was a bunny on my lawn eating a carrot. And I was like, what the hell? I don't know where these carrots are coming from, but it made me mad.
Chris threw three carrots.
I threw 3 back.
He said you only threw 2.
No, one of them, when I threw it, it hit the top of the, you know how if you toss something out of your car window, sometimes you can like hit the top and it just goes straight down. That's literally what happened. Cause I was throwing it off the side, trying to videotape myself doing it at the same time. Thank God that third one didn't actually get into the video, but I did throw a 3 back. So I'm not sure where this one came from, but we're also having our hedges done right now. And the guy was telling me that there's 3 bunnies in that area by my lawn. He saw 3. I was like, I am going to murder these things. Makes me so angry.
I'm excited for you. I'm, you know, as Berto would say, cook them up, eat them.
I don't care what happens to them. They just need to go away. I don't know what to do, but
you have asparagus growing and carrots growing and bunnies feasting. What's wrong? Just
stupid.
Sounds like the perfect little happy life. All you do is need to sing a song and they'll hop up on your lap.
We had a Pro D day today.
Yeah,
right?
we did.
Kids didn't have school.
Yeah.
Best Pro D day I have had. I can't even think in how long.
You hate Pro D days. What happened?
I know. My 2 girls spent the night at my parents-in-law's place. They've got like a camp site. They spent the night there. And my 2 older boys don't bug me in the morning. So No one came into my room in the middle of the night. I slept through the whole night. I was
Naked.
not woken up early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care. It doesn't even matter. I'll whatever gets me sleeping longer. And then they stayed out there and played with them all day today. So I got work done.
Wow.
Through the whole day. It was the best Pro D day ever. A kidless Pro D day. The best.
Sweet.
Anyway. Yep. It was good though. I also, let's get talking about PoE because I did actually play.
What?
No, I want you to tell me about your PoE week.
Oh,
Maybe I'll go first actually because yours is yours is going to be.
No, sorry, I got to interrupt you.
First off,
no, hang on. I want to know about your PoE week. How about you go first? You go first.
That's a great idea. Great idea, Ty. You don't have those often. Okay, so first off, I barely did play PoE, but I want to actually say that I did. But I played a lot of Space Engineers when I got a chance to get on my computer.
Sure.
And I debated Farming Simulator again. And then Dennis in Discord got my juices going when he was like, what about a private server for Space Engineers? I was like, guy, don't tease me about such things. But I did play PoE, and I played because we're going to talk about this week in PoE, but one of the major things for me was this new patch that came out, D, and we're going to talk about that pretty soon. But I wanted to see how it was. Are these video changes been different? And so I played today, loaded it up, and I thought I should get through a couple maps and do some ultimatums and stuff. Big difference.
Really?
Very, very big difference. And I saw something today that I have not seen since the day they introduced it. And in fact, I never saw it originally either. But I actually saw the dynamic resolution kick in.
Oh, did you?
And I've never seen it before. And the reason that I kind of thought, I should check this out was I was watching Octavian play while I was working. And I'm looking at him doing an ultimatum and I'm like, why does it look like he's actually getting that fuzzy, like the dynamic resolution look? Like when it happens, it basically makes your screen slightly fuzzy. So it's just not as defined.
What's the problem? We're texture streaming. It's like texture streaming, but mid-game, not at the beginning of a load screen or at the end of a load screen.
It just makes the game slightly like if you were squinting a little bit or if you were not fully clear, but you can still see what's happening.
Things. Right.
Yeah. And so I thought, I should check that out. I'm kind of curious. And sure enough, I set it to 60 frames, went into an ultimatum, and all of a sudden started to notice it. I was like, ooh.
That's cool.
And one of the smoothest maps I've done, 2 or 3 maps I've done, at least in the last 2 leagues. The game just felt really, really good.
Awesome.
Running it after that. So that was my PoE experience. It wasn't a whole lot into the actual game that much, but I was really impressed with that part. So tell me about your PoE week.
Well, I'm glad that it worked. I loaded PC today. I was playing while you were getting ready for the podcast, which took for freaking ever while we're on the subject. And so I got like 80 maps done. And I didn't actually notice, but I didn't go through. I forgot they made the change, so I didn't go through and double check my settings or anything like that. So I'll be sure to do that. So I guess this was last week. But by the way, thanks, Shaq, for coming on. Last week was awesome. So really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. And last week before that episode, we had GGG had an update. What's up?
Somebody posted something on our website just now, and it just happened to show up on my phone. And it was a giant dickhead response. I'm not even going to read it. Keep going though.
Was it really?
Yeah. And they're purposefully sending it from like a name that Ebenezer Sneed, and they just put in like a fake email address.
What'd they say?
Why do you make PoE content when you're so bad at the game? I watched some of your gameplay and I think currency farming bots clear faster and die less. It says you've played for 7 years, so are you deliberately misleading new players into abhorrent builds, or have you just not improved at all for 2 years? Also, if I ever had your hairline, I would probably consider a wig or hair plugs.
Wow. Asshole.
Yeah.
These are the types of people like, this is what I'm going to do.
This person went to our website. So they like, it's not like they just messaged us through something. They literally went to our website, typed this all in,
right,
and
thought about it too.
I think they like us. There's no way you go through that much work when you don't like. You went to our website.
There are some.
You actually went.
Such stupid people. Like when you actually sit back and think about it, they're not even getting anything out of this.
No, I think that's ridiculous.
Who is ever going to be impressed with that? You know who losers impress? Losers.
That's embarrassing.
It's not like a wise person's looking at that and they're like, oh man, I gotta take some notes from this kid.
Okay. Can I just say, Ty, I do want to hear about your PoE week. I'm going to leave this in, and let me just tell people listening, because I think the 99.99% of people that listen to us are amazing. The people in our Discord, the people that we communicate with on a regular basis are awesome. The reason I'm going to leave it in is because I've heard from a number of streamers this week that have been struggling on the mental health side because of just the crap they've been dealing with.
Sure.
I think one benefit that we have is we're relatively thick-skinned. I mean, people can still be dicks, but we're both relatively confident in ourselves.
Yep.
And this is not a job. We're doing this for fun. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking off my hat so you can see my hairline. Go ahead.
There's a fantastic meme that I saw, and I wanted to send it to you and Chris, and it says, more bald men need to fight like this. And it's pictures of those dinosaurs that had like the big, the ball, and they're like going head to head. But I think people need to understand that it's fine to have a difference of opinion, but sometimes it's also really good to keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And especially if it's just to be nasty. If the whole purpose of what you're about to say or think or do is just to be a dick, no other benefit, then just go choke on something somewhere.
Or go ride your tricycle.
Useless. You're useless. Anyway, so to that person who I know is going to listen, and to that person listening right now,
you don't go to our website.
That's how pathetic you are.
Yeah.
You went to our website and you sent us a message, which thank you for sending us a message. Thank you for giving us your opinion, and thank you for listening, because you're going to listen and you're going to come back next week too. So I am going to leave it in. I wasn't going to put it in there, but I think people need to understand that people that you watch, like, it's not the same for Tyler and I, because we don't do this as a profession. We have a lot of fun with it. And for me personally, I can't speak for Tyler. People don't bother me when they have a negative opinion or a difference of opinion or think that I'm a dick. I'm fine with that. But people who stream and do this as a career, some people may not be that thick-skinned. It's not cool to have comments like that going out of your mouth or whatever. Like, there's an inside and an outside voice. Keep it in the inside.
And people have their weekdays too.
Right.
Like, it's not, it's your job to make sure that you're doing what you can for other people, not making it so that you're like making their road harder.
I don't know. I think they're garbage. And
yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but it just happened to pop up on my phone, and I thought, oh, maybe it's a nice message I should share. And then I read it. I was like, wow, this guy.
That was kind of you to not want to say it ahead of time, since it obviously wasn't for you. So, because you have a gorgeous head of hair. Let me tell you, Silver.
I got these nice little peaks.
Oh yeah, but still, you got way more hair than I do. You want me to grow my hair long like it used to be? Ooh.
I don't go on camera and I don't talk, and not even that should matter. I think people just having that negative. Rise didn't stream today because of negativity. There were a couple other people through the week that have said they've been struggling with the mental health side, and so they're either not streaming or not doing YouTube stuff at the moment because they need a break.
Sure.
And if this is the stuff that people are sending to somebody, to that person who I know you're listening, you're an ass. You're a piece of garbage.
Save it though. Maybe we could post it on Reddit.
Say, well, the message? I won't delete it.
Okay, good.
No, yeah. This is what some of the people, unfortunately, in the PoE community are like. And again, it is the really, really, really small percentage of them.
People have jumped off a bridge for less. They totally have.
And that's a reason. That's why you need to keep that stuff. There's absolutely no reason. It's no benefit. Don't be a dick to be a dick.
Yeah. If you're lone when you grow up and you're lonely, don't ask yourself why.
Oh, you're lonely.
The answer is obvious. It has nothing to do with other people.
I think that's the part that's my favorite, is you went and you hit contact. Like, I just love that. Anyway, tell me about your PoE week.
I want to apologize to my filter people. GGG, and this really bugs me because GGG has done this 2 times. Both times they didn't inform filter people that something was going to happen. And even if it was by accident, there was no comment to it afterwards. And it drives me nuts because filters are valuable, especially when they do nothing about theirs. So I think it was the C patch. I forget which one came out 2 Mondays ago.
Right.
They took out some keywords. They took out something about like MTX or like hideout doodads. There's a keyword in there. It was a class, and I never knew what it was, but GGG had it in their default filter when I've been able to get my hands on it. It says like class show quotation hideout doodads end quotation, and then there was another one. And I never knew what it was, but I figure, okay, if they have it, like I didn't know any hideout doodads could drop. Maybe there were. I'm never going to experience everything in the game, so I have it in my filter just in case. Never been a problem. Always, like, it's never shown up in the issue list, and all my filters have been working properly. All of a sudden, this this 0.1c patch comes out. I think that was the patch, and all my filters have errors on them. But I'm not used to my filters just all of a sudden randomly getting an error. They only have errors when I screw up when I'm making changes. So I never have to check that they're actually working if I haven't changed anything for a month. All of a sudden, I'm getting an influx of messages from everywhere on Twitter, private messages on the website, everywhere, on my build threads. And so 3 days later, I get all these messages, I see them, I go and make the fix. But for 3 days, my filters didn't work. And I felt really bad for everybody that follows. So my apologies if you do.
They don't fully just stop working. It was just that part that wasn't working.
No. Well, you have one thing that's wrong. Like you made fun of me quite a few episodes ago. Like, it's code. So one little thing that's wrong and the whole thing doesn't work.
Oh.
So
what would it do? Would it just be like,
when the game loads and it's automatically loading your filter, it'll say unable to load filter, like in the chat, blah, 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 blah.
Interesting.
And so it gave the error. So I had 50 people copy and paste the error to me, which was really nice. And I am going to put my hat on because my head makes things really bright. So
you got the sun just shining right at you. Does it give you like a syntax line or something to know where your error is? Okay.
Yeah. So everybody like had line, and it was really high up. It was one of the first codes because I didn't know what it did. So I didn't want it to be overwritten or missed out. So anyway, sorry to everyone who follows my filters. My apologies. Milestone, though, these last 2 weeks, I played PC League by myself.
Were you streaming? I think I watched.
I think so.
Was this when you were leveling?
Twice. Yeah. So I played 2 weeks ago. So last week I played the build we were playing together. Wanted to level it more, see how it was doing, but I didn't have the maps, right? I'm still like in yellow maps with this, and I want to see what it's like in the harsher content. So it was kind of pointless, but I did a session or two like that. And then I had, what else? Then I started, I'm thinking of switching my Elementalist Righteous Fire build back to a Chieftain. Now that I've played around with what it's like with Elementalist, and I've given it 3 good seasons, what game is that from? Leagues. I'm thinking of going back, especially with just like the cluster beep that Path of Exile is in major content. It's like, okay, well, I'm not a zoom player, and so many people do RF with Elementalist. It's a solid build, just like Trickster, but to me, I'm slow in my reaction time. I'm slow in movement. I don't see things as they happen, so I need to move back to the Chief, I think, so I can take a lot more surprise damage. So I want to double check. They've made some changes, or changes according to me anyway. Like, I noticed that Fireball is now a part of one of the first quests you can get for the Chief, and I never noticed that before. Pretty sure that's new, at least in the last year, because otherwise I probably would have suggested that with my previous guides. I just wanted to see what it was like leveling, with spells, because I hate doing the respec thing. Like Shaq was talking about his CI guide, and like respecking into CI, even though he doesn't need to do that anymore. A lot of the times when you're doing like a spell with one of your south classes, like a duelist or something, it's hard to like not have accuracy as you're leveling up, especially once you get past Act 3. So I was just trying it out. So that was awesome. Played PC by myself. And then I got another apology for people. For those people that don't have elite systems that kind of catered to all my whining about performance because they just have mediocre income, mediocre gameplay, like mediocre console PC. I'm out of the club. I found an Xbox Series X and I got one. And Justin, it's glorious. See that? That dickhole that commented would never make me cry. But this, Justin, getting a Series X and playing PoE, it loaded faster than I've ever thought was imaginable. It was almost instant. And I have yet to have, maybe I probably have, but I haven't noticed it. No frame drops. Justin, my survivability is through the roof. Now, I've been testing like tankier builds, but my survivability is through the roof. Like, the game's not stuttering. It's smooth. So even if it's just a cluster of craziness, like in a Harvest or something, I'm still like able to see where I need to go. Like, I can see far away into the map, or I can move. Like, it's just, the performance is wonderful. Oh, so I couldn't wait. And I don't know if this is an Xbox Series X thing, because I hadn't loaded the game in a little bit on console, but in the options menu, they have a quality option, which isn't very common in any type of console game. They have
Just
the
a
ability
slider?
for you. No, it's a drop down of two options. It says, do you want to favor performance or favor quality? I'm like,
Okay.
oh, neat. Like, I'm curious. What, not like I need to know, but I'm curious. Like, what do they change? Like, what is it in the game? Like, if I was in PC, what would be the slider options for favoring performance or favoring quality?
Just take all the check mark boxes and drop them to the lowest, probably.
I also don't know the difference because to me, that's the same thing. Quality and performance. Like,
No, they're not the same.
well, which one's?
Performance is that it plays better. Quality is it looks better.
Oh, quality is about the look. Okay,
Yep.
cool. So I was playing, I forget if this was with my respec Righteous Fire Chief, or if it was with my Elementalist Righteous Fire, but I was going through some heists. I was trying to clear out all my contracts, and I'm going through, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not in this for completing the heist, even though I am. I want to like really test the tankiness and the validity of these, so I'm like clearing these heists. Not like going back and forth and making sure they're all done, but I'm not skipping enemies. I'm not running from danger. I'm not looking for the completion part. I'm looking for the I'm in it for the kills part. And on my way back, after I picked up whatever contract thingy it was, and I've got the quest item, on my way back, an Exalt drops. I haven't seen one drop in forever, so I'm pretty excited. An Exalt drops, and I'm like, oh, sweet, let me just... Dead. So I lost an Exalt on the screen that I could never get back.
It dropped.
That's right. I can't use it for crafting, but in my heart, it's there. So I had a really good week. I had a really good PC week, really good console week, and I've kind of redone my schedule a little bit so I can get more PoE time. Now it's like 8 hours a week I can kind of guarantee myself, which is nice. And that's outside of Mondays, our hangout time. So
sweet. That's
yeah, it was
awesome.
pretty awesome. You had your PoE week, right? So now we have 2 weeks to catch up on. And
thanks a lot, Shaq. God.
No, I love that. I love having
He was awesome to talk
our guests. Very much, very much. And it's kind of cool catching up on 2 weeks too, because we go week to week and we catch up on PoE every week, but it's kind of cool like to see how fast the game progresses within 2 weeks. There's an insane amount of posts that happened. And it's mid-league? We're a month and a half in now. So anyway, most important thing is Xbox got.
Yeah, why is this one even in here?
I'm always putting console stuff at the top, man.
I clicked the link and I was like, I opened it and then I'm thinking, I see Xbox at the top. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, console specific changes just.
No, nobody cares about this.
They care. So anyway, they got 0.1C patch. That's it. There's no news. They just got a couple console specific changes. Whoop whoop. And can't wait for D. I don't know. I wonder if D is going to get there.
C was a really good patch, though.
Oh, huge patch. Yeah, it was awesome. But I'm curious how if D at all is even going to come out for console, because it was more about the...
It should.
Well, but it was about the memory usage versus...
Right, but
I don't know
console will
take
works. Advantage of that.
I hope so. Well,
yep. C came out.
Who cares? I got an X.
Well, but it would affect that too. So maybe you could go for the quality instead of performance. C was tons of fixes, which is great. The C patch. Nothing specifically for me, but just a ton of fixes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I like the D patch. So why don't you talk about whatever you want up until then? That's the only one I care about.
There's the C patch, 2 hot fixes for that. The D patch that I have in there. Oh no.
Yeah, and then there were
the D patch and then 2 more
fixes.
hot fixes. And I mean, lots of stuff in there. But yeah, let's go. Actually, there was one thing that I want to mention before you get to D. Are there... your tech stuff. Are there a lot of people out there still on Windows 7 and 8?
Well, yes, there are.
There were some stability issues with this game on Windows 7 and 8, and now I'm just a normal Joe. I don't know this kind of stuff, so I just assume people would have upgraded for free. Why are people on Windows 7 or 8? What would be the
Well, there was a lot of
advantage for
people
some?
that were against the upgrade to Windows 10. They didn't want the Windows 10. They were anti-Microsoft or anti-Windows 10, didn't want to share their information. So people stuck around with 7 and 8, and you can technically still run 7 and 8, and a lot of companies especially still run Windows 7, but they're both already end of life. I don't think either of them get any more updates from security updates. So
Sure.
we actually don't allow people to run Windows 7 in our offices. So yeah, some people do though.
Why would GGG care about Windows 7 and 8?
Well, it's the same with why would they care about a Mac or an Xbox. I would see them supporting and being worried about Windows 7 more than an Xbox, because there are still people on it. So it's not like Windows 7 is so out there that you're so old if you're still using it. It's just some people have Windows 7 was an incredibly stable operating system. It's just end of life for Microsoft.
Okay.
So
cool. All right, D.
Yeah. Okay, so this was their pathofexile client now utilizes your system's video memory more efficiently, which means that assets will stay loaded for longer for systems with sufficient video memory. This will result in significantly fewer assets being visibly loaded during gameplay. I can only give 2 or 3 maps worth of my thought towards this, but those 3 maps felt incredibly smooth. They really did not feel jittery. I didn't feel like there was my frames were staying high, and I actually was watching the usage of my video card, which doesn't often happen. And I also was doing it while I was running really heavy processing on a piece of audio. So, which surprised me even more. So I had a piece of software running, which is extremely intensive, while playing through maps. And it was really smooth. And when I did hit those spots where I was getting loaded, dynamic kicked in and it went slightly fuzzy, but not to the point where I was like frustrated by it. It just made sure I stayed over 60 frames per second.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it. It's going to take more playing with, but if that's at least an indication right now, for me, that is really, really welcome, because this has been one of them. And it's not been a bad league and my performance hasn't been terrible. It's just been annoying and enough for me to be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to look at squares and weird things when I'm playing. So really cool.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully it kind of encompasses all that kind of stuff. They were very quick to point out, this does tell you the type of community that they're used to dealing with. They were very quick within the post explaining what this D patch was going to do. They were very quick to say that this isn't going to solve every graphical issue. This, it was like they were talking to kids almost. This isn't going to solve everything. It's going to solve a good amount of things. It's going to create some new problems. We're going to fix those as well. But it wasn't like the end all and be all, the heaven of all
it's a good
fixes.
Start.
So yeah, definitely. And I'm very happy for it. It's, a long time coming for sure. And I'm glad that they were able to do it with this engine, this patch, before like a restructure of the entire game. They did it for PoE 1, not PoE 2. So
yeah, and then they added a clear cache button, which it made me laugh that they had to later put out an announcement thing saying like, here's what it does. I kind of wonder sometimes if people are like, what are you clearing? Like, first off, you need to understand they have limited access to what they can clear, and it's their pathofexile specific file. It just made me laugh because when I read their explanation, it was almost like they were saying it's not stuff that's on your computer, like your personal stuff, or it's just stuff related to the game.
Is that how
so
you
relax.
Took it? That's funny.
That's how I read it. Like people were like, what are you talking about? Get out of my computer, GGG. That's how I thought. That's how I took it.
Oh, funny. I took it as somebody thinking that any issue they have, they hit clear cache and all my problems are solved.
Yeah, well, people probably did.
So anyway, I thought, yeah, both were kind of like baby step comment, but it's good. It's nice for them to put that kind of stuff out for those people that wouldn't quite understand. So I thought that was neat, and I'm really excited to see where this patch goes. Like, it's the groundwork for a big future. So
impressive that it was a restartless one. I know you laugh at me for sometimes saying that, but that to me surprises me that can be done restartless.
Yeah. What else do we have? Concept art for the Apollyon mystery box. There was an insane amount of MTX that came out this last 2 weeks. I'm not even going to list them, but...
Well, let's talk about the ones that you care about, which, there's only one. There's only one that matters, and that is Celestial Ground Slam. I called it.
You did.
I called it. We were going to get it, and I'm not actually happy that we did because it's Celestial. And I always like give you a hard time because obviously I'm going to get it, but I would like to see other things too.
Oh,
and I feel like a Celestial Ground Slam was just you knew that's what it was going to be because they hadn't done one yet.
It'll sell. I turned on my Celestial.
Give me something else.
I turned on my Celestial RF, and I'm like, okay, this let's turn it off. Survivability increase. That Celestial RF. It's pay to lose.
It's the worst.
It's pay to lose. But I wanted to congratulate GGG because yes, it's been a while, and yes, my complaints about like every single MTX that came out with Celestial, that's like a year old now, maybe, right? Half a year at least, where they went through that crazy phase of Celestial only. It's been the complete opposite for a very long time. They had some Celestial in here, but there was a whole whack load of different stuff in there for a ton of different types of skills. Like new wings. They had, what else? Character effects, staff, tons and tons of stuff. So it was really, really cool. They came out with a new hideout, the Azurite hideout. So it kind of looks like Delve. They added the Warlord Mystery Box to the store now, so if you liked those, you can pick those up. They came out with now. I laughed a lot. I'm not going to get this one, but I laughed a lot. They came out with a Pomeranian dog.
I thought of you when I saw it.
It's so dumb. Not the MTX itself, but like the character dog. It's so dumb and happy and clueless, and I just thought it was perfect. I freaking love it. I like the real lifestyle MTX.
My dog is half Pomeranian.
Yeah, it explains a lot.
It's a Pomsky, so it's half Pomeranian.
Pomsky, goodness me. You know what you sound like? And they came out with cursors, Justin. How cool is that?
Okay, can we talk about cursors in a minute? Because did we talk about, like, I know you said it, but the concept, oh no, that's art, fan art. Okay, so yeah, cursors. Let's get into cursors.
Okay, let's talk about cursors, baby. They're awesome.
Yes. And
I'll buy that kind of stuff, whether like those like, I don't know, account based things. Buy them instantly. $10.
Sure.
You get 6 different cursors. They're all cool. They highlight. They go like a different shade or color depending on the MTX you chose when you're capable of highlighting or clicking on something. And they tweeted this. It's not out yet, but they're going to come out with just different colored skins for their default cursor.
Well, and keep in mind that one of the skins is already free. The one of the cursor effects is free. Awesome. They're going to come out with different versions of that one with colors to help people that struggle to see it. Awesome.
For free.
For free. And then they came out with a big pack. I saw these and I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. And then I saw people like, man, you're charging money and I can use YOLO mouse and blah, blah. And I was like, hold on. First off, people get mad when they don't do something and that we count on third parties to do. And then they do something I used YOLO mouse as well.
Yep, me too.
But why on earth would I be mad that Grinding Gear Games decided to do their own version and they customized it and gave me access to it? I think that's amazing. I think the fact that they brought this into the game, super cool. The only thing that I mentioned to you that I don't like, there needs to be a scale for it because it's not very big when you're playing on a much larger
scale.
Resolution.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's quite small when you're playing on a higher resolution monitor.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of sucks. I would like to be able to I don't know why that's not in there, but maybe it will be now that they're actually doing something. I feel like just a simple slider or small, medium, large or something would be nice for it. But they're so cool. They're so fun. I think it's awesome. I think it's a silly thing to get upset about. It's a microtransaction that you do not have to buy.
Let the dogs bark, let the dogs bark.
Well, I'm still gonna call attention to it. Find a better thing to be upset about. Don't buy it.
Yeah, complain to your local podcaster.
Don't pay for it. It's like, I don't know. I think it's awesome. So
yeah, me too.
They were really cool.
But
really pumped.
This is like, look, they've done a lot of little things, whether they've been asked for or not. They've done a lot of little things over the last couple leagues. This is the kind of stuff that being invested in helps. This is the kind of stuff that making time for. What's your stupid smirk for?
I have to pull this up because I know that you're going to be like, dog spark, whatever you want to say, but I saw people that were saying, oh, you're releasing a cursor MTX, but you're not fixing your game. And we've had this conversation in past episodes where we're just like, the dude or dudette that's creating these cursors probably has nothing to do with any of the coding or the developing, or they're very different jobs. I don't think people get that.
They've gone back to the drawing board on another MTX.
That just seems so odd to me that they were upset about that, as if they were like, hey guys, stop developing the game for a minute. We'd like you to make some cursors. That's not how it works. They have different jobs.
I know you're fixing that crash, but buddy, I got a job money to make. I picture these people driving around with like their shades on and like in the, I don't know, like a juice box with a straw coming out of their mouth, and they're riding around town with their tricycle looking all like badass to people. That's how I picture the whiners. There was also another fan art competition. I like seeing it.
Yep.
Never be a part of it, but it's
I like
cool.
seeing the results.
Yep.
Yep. Which, speaking of the results, that's why I wanted to bring up the community showcase.
Okay.
Because they did another community showcase.
Yes, they did.
And they're all awesome. But my favorite one is the Pixel Twilight Strand. Did you see that one?
No. I'm going to bring it up right now.
Open it up. Go past the lovely ladies, past the skull,
they are quite
and
lovely.
The third one.
The third. Yeah, it was like the 8-bit.
Because can you imagine? I would have played that.
Yeah.
Like it's like a an 8 or 16-bit version of the Twilight Strand.
I love that they
where you
even
start.
put Lunaris and Solaris on the edges there with their stuff, and then
It's
you
so
have
good.
the icon in the top left. Yeah, Pixel
Yep.
Twilight Strand by Gentleman Wiz. We like everybody's art all the time.
They're all good.
That one tickled our fancy. Good call.
Anyway, I really
yes,
like
I
that
did see that one. That one's awesome. And then there were 2 community things that GGG posted about. Badger team versus team event, and then Havoc had a team blast as well. Maybe they're the same thing, maybe not. I don't know, but they did those things.
They're not the same thing.
Okay.
The Badger one, I've heard of it before. It's not something that I would get into. Like I just don't I don't tend to do many of the private league stuff because they usually have some crazy weird things that I don't like. Like, hey, let's make everything stupid hard. This one was interesting because I didn't know how his leagues work.
Which one?
But it's quite cool, the Badger one.
Okay.
Where it's team based. You're actually playing with, in his case, it's 3 teams of 700 people.
Okay.
And everything is focused
3 teams
around,
of 700?
Right. So there's 2,100
teams?
slots.
Wow.
There's 2,100 slots. There's 3 teams. It's like chaos, something and something, and ruin, chaos, and something else. But each of you're basically divided 2 days before the event starts. All of the people in the event are split into those 3 teams. You don't pick, it's random. And then your class you have to play is based on the team you're on, and then you have goals that you're working with as a team.
Oh, that's interesting.
To complete.
That sounds like so much work to manage.
Well, the thing that I thought was cool is, one, if you win something, you get a Discord rank, which to me is awesome because it's not like people are stressing out about how much they're going to play because there's some,
massive
financial
reward,
gain or something.
Sure.
Right. There is like an MTX or something for the person who's voted as the MVP by the captain. I guess each team has a captain because you collect uniques as a team and you do all these different things. But I was watching his video trying to understand like what he does. Oh my God. He has got to put so much time into this thing because of all the different things you have to manage, the different point systems. There was like a whole point system based on what level you get to. And in my head, I was just like, 2,100 people. And you have to and it's only based on the highest level of each account. Oh, it just made my head hurt instantly. I was like, this is why we're just solely based on whatever GGG shows.
Yep.
That's it.
Our private leagues are
though.
delve depth and experience and
XP.
alive.
Yep. But it looks really cool. And I know a lot of people play it. I love the fact that he does something that's team based. I really like the fact too that he does not let people switch teams. And he kind of just says, you might have to play outside your comfort level. That's the whole point. Play a class maybe you hadn't tried before. Play something you weren't used to. So I thought it was cool.
Sweet.
And it only runs for 4 days, which I like 4 days. That's short.
Where do these people have the time?
How do you do an event for 4 days? The minimum is 10. So that means you just have to stop it? How?
Oh, he probably talked to GGG about something.
I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe they say you can't start your character until there's only 4 days left in the league. And then they do. I don't know. It just surprised me because I was like, what the? Anyway. Then they released, we talked about the more information about
patch D.
14D. Yep. And then the game mechanics.
Oh, I love it when they do this. They have just a Q&A. Any questions about game mechanics, and we'll answer them. Now, obviously, they can't answer everything, and sometimes people take those opportunities to just complain about the game instead. But either way, I loved how many obvious dumb answers they gave, because like I know it's GGG not trying to be rude, but there's just I can't tell you how many times I'm theory crafting, I'm thinking of this, the game's so complicated, I'm thinking of all these details of just squeaking out this and that a little bit more, and then the reason that my build's not working is because I forgot something completely obvious. You know what I mean? You just get so used to overthinking the game that sometimes the answers to your question are really simple. And so I did like that they didn't shy away from the bluntness of some of the simplicity. Hopefully nobody took offense from that. There are a couple neat things. You'll want to edit this because I'm going to have to read where it was. I didn't copy and paste it very well, but you're not going to edit it, are you? Okay. There were a couple things that I actually thought was kind of neat that I was like, oh, I did not know. Armor only gives physical damage reduction against hits, which I did know. But physical damage reduction in general applies to all damage taken. whether you get it for armor or not, from armor or not, right? For the most part, that's like the definition of armor, and that's explained in the game. But for extra clarification, physical damage reduction, unlike resistances, can't go below 0. So not like against hits or anything, but just physical damage reduction in general can't go below 0. So the enemy has to have some physical damage reduction that applies against dots in order for something like Poacher's Mark to affect it like a dot. I just didn't know that physical damage reduction can't be put negative. So that's interesting because like elemental stuff can. So I assumed it was treated the same way. So that was a little tidbit that I'm going to forget quite quickly, but it's neat to know until I do. Let's see. People were asking questions about life recovery rate, and like there's some really like fine-tuned, details that people are trying to go through here. Life recovery rate, and they were asking questions about flasks and stuff and specific mods. Instant recovery effects don't have any way to be modified. An instant recovery, even though they use the word recovery, isn't considered recovery because it's not happening over a duration. It's just instant and it's done, so there's nothing that can modify it. I didn't know that, never really had the question, but now I know. Now I know. What else did I see from the Q&A? Oh, there were some questions about traps in there. Like when, how there's this one, I think one of the most tricky things in PoE is when certain mechanics are impacting you or not. Some of those are
caused by you or not,
right?
Or you get the benefit of you or not,
right?
Yep.
So totems, ballistas, same kind of thing. Traps, mines. Am I doing the damage? Are they doing the damage? Does it count as me hitting? Does it count as not? If it's triggered from casting damage taken, am I casting that? Am I not? And I thought I had it. Like it took me quite a few years to figure all that out. I thought I had it, and now I'm confused again. I read some of those like trap questions, and it's like, no, actually, you are doing the damage. Like it counts as your hit when your trap hits them, but they're doing the damage. And so now I'm like, okay, now I have no clue what's going on again. And I'm going to go to the wiki site. It's not going to have that. I'm not going to be able to ever find it on Reddit or the PoE website again, because that's just how my searching goes. I never find what I'm looking for. So now it's like, does a trap count as hitting you? No, it doesn't. But yes, it does. But no, it doesn't.
Sometimes. If you're looking left and throw it right, you're good.
But it's unbelievable. Like as you're going through this Q&A, some of these questions, of course, a lot of them revolved around specific uniques and unique mods. But it's unbelievable how exact and picky normal English words. Now we're obviously in English. Who knows about the other languages? I can't imagine what it would be like to try and translate this game. But it's amazing how normal words have such a completely specific definition in this game. And it's not only hard to try and explain what you're talking about because you're normally used to using some of these terms as general descriptions, not as something specific, but then also just like a new person knowing the difference between like energy shield recovery versus energy shield recharge versus energy shield regen. Like 3 different R's for no, actually that mod doesn't impact that because it's a different type of getting up, different type of increasing. Now that stuff doesn't bother me. That's not a criticism, but it's just sometimes when you get used to your own builds, I like to play the same builds over and over, and I haven't done an ES build for a while or, focused on flasks like that. It's just like, wow, you kind of forget how, I don't know. I think it's amazing. I love how convoluted this game is. I couldn't imagine being new or trying to create the new tutorial for PoE 2, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. So anyway, I was quite impressed with that. I really enjoyed reading it.
I wonder why they don't take some of those game mechanic question Q&A posts they do and just turn them into giant facts. So combine them all and then just be like, here's the fact on our website. Mm-hmm. And you can go back and see past questions because people are asking those same questions often. I love that they do it. I really do. But make it easily accessible now. Mm-hmm. To turn it all into one big thing.
Yeah, it's not always easy to find. Maybe it's easy to find if you know the exact question to ask, but then if you knew that, you'd probably already know the answer. The difference between, for example, all those 3 R's that I mentioned. But if you don't know the difference, how are you going to ask that question and get that proper search engine result when you're done, right?
Plus, hearing it directly from GGG is usually the best way to get it.
Oh, yeah. You can't.
Versus hoping the information on the wiki's right, or maybe somebody told me or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference. Sometimes when somebody explains it, you know what they're talking about. Other times, people just speak with arrogance and you have no idea if they're talking from experience or not. Now, on to something really important. This actually wasn't this week. It was a tiny bit ago, but our episodes have been actually really jam-packed, so it had to get pushed, but it used to be relevant and new. I think it was
how do I push it now?
I think it was about a month. No, about a month ago. This article is from New Zealand. I guess I look up GGG stuff.
Oh, this is a month old?
I think so. As it says at May 10th. What day is it today? May 21st. Okay, so week and a bit.
That's not that bad.
It probably last updated May 10th, so a while ago. I get a lot of GG or New Zealand news, I guess, because I was really impressed with how they were able to deal with COVID. Of course, their island situation helps, but I was really impressed with that, but also because I like look up GGG stuff as well. So I get just as much New Zealand news as I do Canadian news. And this says a New Zealand man faces legal action for painting penises around potholes on roads. If potholes isn't a familiar term, that's like massive holes in the middle of a road that city or whoever needs to fix. And so this person's like a massive safety advocate and like safety on the road advocate. And so this person has been spray painting ginormous penises and balls around all these massive potholes because he feels that the city, maybe it's a city, maybe it's a province, whatever it is, the territory, but they're taking way too long or just completely neglecting road safety. So he's been painting inappropriate image, not crazy, just like, like how a child would do like a big sausage and then two balls next to it over all these potholes. Says he painted like 100 different, he's facing legal action for painting 100 dicks on the streets of New Zealand. How awesome is that? I didn't, Auckland.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was neat. It's not PoE related, but I thought it was hilarious. So.
Does he work for Grinding Your Games? Or?
Probably.
Yeah, okay.
Probably. That'll be our next interview. Hey, you're the dick painter, right?
The dick guy, right?
Guy gets a big smile on his face. Bitch buns. So I had the opportunity to, well, I guess, yeah, I really paid attention to the game when I was leveling. So this past week, I forget if I mentioned it in my week in PoE, but I was re-leveling my chieftain, I did, I remember that. Re-leveling my chieftain, starting from scratch, want to see what, the chieftain a year later is like to try and go RF. I don't like re-speccing, going from like an attack tree to an RF tree. I like trying to just do it naturally, see if there's an easy way to do it. I'm more of a patient player per se. I have my limits, but I'm definitely not going to freak out if it takes me a while to finish the campaign. So anyway, I want to see what it would be like. And so there's some things I noticed or re-noticed as I was leveling, and I'm going to share them with you, Justin.
I can't wait.
Good. Did you know that after entering... Oh, yeah, I always voice type on my phone. And I swear, Google... I absolutely hate Google Home. Please don't turn on. It's the dumbest contraption in the world. You know how I complained for a long time that GGG should... I hated playing beta as a permanent game all the time. Well, Google Home should not have come out, and their voice recognition, even just on my phone, is stupid. So I'm going to try and translate
find it fine.
this.
I just don't use it for dictation.
I have no idea why I don't proofread these after. Oh, that's Lion Eyes. Okay, yeah, okay. Did you know that after you get into Lion Eyes Watch, after like just in the first act, you beat Hillock? Is it Hillock or Hillock? I don't know.
Hillock, yeah.
For the first time, you can't go back to the beach?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I just assumed you could because in Act 6 you can, right? You go back, you do that quest for Lily. So I just never knew.
So it's actually interesting because one, you wouldn't want to forget what you dropped if something good dropped. But also I can understand why you can't, because can you imagine if you could just control click and farm Hillock. Control click, make a new instance.
That's probably why, hey? Because the next boss that's like that is the guy in the prison, right?
Yeah, Brutus.
There's a couple mini bosses on the...
There's nothing that's like
ledge.
A boss, though.
Yeah, there's the skeleton with the chaos damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense then. That makes sense, because you still have to be... Okay, cool. Cool. Harvest battles. Now, again, I was playing a little bit on... I did play on my leveled up character on PC, but then also I got the new Xbox, so I tried to make as much time as I could for myself, getting excited. It's like having new shoes and wearing them to bed. Tried to get some extra time on the new console. Harvest battles are the perfect snapshot for PoE content. It's like it tells the perfect story. You know how like some people say like, hey, if you were to pitch your book, if you were to pitch your movie, picture like running into the elevator right next to the exec and doing your 30-second spiel before the door opens. Like that's how you kind of got to
Harvest would be the PoE?
So you got 30 seconds to explain Path of Exile, show a harvest battle. I laughed when I saw it because I could actually see it now. Frame rate was fine. Before it was the second you clicked it, it was just, there was nothing to see. The screen just stayed still. So now that I can see it though, the second those seeds open up, it is just 100 enemies. You don't know anything. They're instantly at you. There's like no difference. There's no like preparation. It's not even like in Heist where you can see what's on the other side of the door. You can prepare time. But it's just boom. You're in the middle of something. You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea if there's 4 rares, 1 rare. All of a sudden a unique pops up out of nowhere. Like it's the most like WTF. I have no idea what to do. I'm either glass cannon or pure tank. There's no middle ground.
Circles, Ty. Circles.
It is. It's 100%. I was watching Yoji the other day and he was commenting on how, what's this league? Ultimatum. It's another circle league. Not talking about like circles, but like running in circles.
You just run circles.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Ritual was. And I made a comment, didn't get any attention, but because I'm not that funny, but I've made a comment that like PoE's always a circle game. Like it's always, no matter what you do, you just run in circles. That's your safest way to play. And like, I didn't really have an issue with it, but because I'm used to not having any clue what I'm supposed to be avoiding, but it was the perfect snapshot for me. I went like, wow, that's like PoE. There's my 30 seconds. If I want to explain PoE to somebody, just show them this. If this interests you, if you would like this, you're going to love it. If it doesn't, save your time. I was trying to level my heist people. What are they called? Rogues?
Mm-hmm.
I still have Gianna at level 1. Everyone else is at level 4 or 5. She's at level 1. I cannot find a level 1. What is she? Deception or something?
I can't remember what all her
I can't remember. I can't. And so I go to buy. Like I haven't touched this RF character in forever. And one thing that actually really annoys me about Heist is that guy where you can buy contracts from, who stands right next to Faustus. He only restocks his inventory when you level. Now, I get that that's how a lot of the other vendors do it too. So why would the rules be different? But I haven't had a level 1 deception drop or whatever it is for Gianna in ever. I think I might have had 1 drop once and I probably died in it. So anyway, she's still level 1. She has no movement on her XP marker. So I went to go buy one. He had 10 contracts. 7 of them were level 1 demolition.
So just go level.
I would love demolition. That's even the wrong one. I would love for them to
level
be,
yourself.
Yeah, I'll go from 92 to 93 in a heartbeat. Sure thing.
There you go.
Yeah, I've never, ever. So what I would love is for GGG to have like a guaranteed 1 of each type of contract at level 1.
Sure.
Make them expensive. Like make them an elk. So you can't just spam it when you're a new character. I think what are they now? I think they're elks. Make it an elk, make it a chaos, whatever. But have the rules different for him. Because you're leveling content that's different than just you. He's a different type of vendor, and what he sells, I mean, sure, it might just be really bad RNG, but it's still a lot of waiting. I have my influence, or what are they called? The Atlas passives to favor Heist, because I like the content. I still don't have I don't have a decent trinket. I want to see what some of that new content is. I don't have like any of the new like zombie alternative quality gems. I haven't touched any of that. So I'm really focused on that on my passive tree. No level 1 deception. I'd love a little bit more like fine tuning of those rules. So anyway, noticed that while I was leveling. Oh, and then on that note, do you know how they have like the auto stash? What's that called? You like click on something and it just automatically goes to the tab when you're stashing. I want them to do that for blueprints and contracts. I know they're in a different thing, but I would love like if you're in your stash to just click and it goes to your Heist contract thing.
It does it if you're in the Heist one, but it is annoying to have to go to that one.
Back and forth, sure.
Take my green ones too, you jerks.
Stop. There should be a quest section. Yes. But one thing I'd love to praise GGG for, because we're always waiting. Well, not always, really bad word, but it seemed like in the past, there's always a few things that we could hang on to, a few currency items that took forever to get their own spot in the stash tab. Well, ritual splinters were added right away this league. They were 313. We got them right away for 3. It is 314, right? That's where we're at. Okay, yeah. They added it right away. So that was pretty awesome.
Not Veiled Chaos, though.
No, but who
Can't
cares?
have those because that's new for this league. Who cares? How dare you?
I was also listening to some of the dialogue. It's not Cyrus. It's Cirrus.
Nope.
I know, and it's June, not Jun, right? No, and then what was it? Tane instead of Tane? That's what Shaq was saying last week. That's craziness. I got to start listening to this stuff because Zana, I heard her say it. I wasn't even going to pay attention. I was click, 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 but I think I was zoning out or I was talking to someone on the podcast or on Twitch. And then I heard her say it as I was getting ready to open up one of the Conquerors.
Maybe she's just saying it wrong.
So no, I clicked, oh, please. Her boyfriend, saying her boyfriend's name wrong. Get out of here. So I went back and I listened to it like 3 times. It's Cirrus.
It's just a New Zealand accent.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, some things I noticed while I was re-leveling and playing again, and it was kind of neat.
Cool.
I got a question for you while we're on the subject.
Mm.
We have, I'm assuming retention numbers are pretty low for this league so far. We haven't seen any stats. It's just an assumption. But if they are, you know what this league kind of taught me from like an attitude where, you know how we were always asking, we brought this up maybe with our last 2 interview, we had BK on, we had Shaq on. I think we've talked about it by ourselves as well, but we've been asking for a long time for a league where there's absolutely nothing, but they just fix stuff. We're saying this is basically it. It's a reworked ritual. You have some pretty neat mechanics thrown in there. It's relatively simple. They didn't even it's even an RNG boss system. It's not even something static. And we just wanted them to fix stuff. Well, they fixed tons of stuff. There's tons of quality of life stuff. They even put the game on the video card. They've done tons of stuff. But in terms of retention numbers and probably a whole lot of money, this league's taught me that GGG can't really have a just fix it league.
We talked about this.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we brought this up in one of our past episodes where I mentioned that they did a thing that we've asked forever for them to do. And yet, even in myself, there's things bugging me about it. And that is like, well, Ultimatum's kind of a repeat of Ritual. Yeah, it kind of makes sense because they were trying to fix a bunch of other stuff and they did a bunch of core changes to the game. But it is true. You probably are right that it is really difficult for them to go, all right, guys, the game's going to be exactly the same. We're just going to fix stuff. People will say that. I don't think retention would ever be better if they did that, though.
No. And so it's hard. Like if you ever do this kind of thing again, if this actually was that type of league, this league has shown that the retention's probably really low. And if that's the case, you can't do this very much. When retention's low, your money is low. And it might even, you really have to spice up the next league or those initial numbers are going to be low too. Not necessarily the play numbers, but your purchase point numbers. People like disgruntled doesn't get money. You know what I mean? Excitement gets money. And so if you're like really bored, if it's been a long time, sure, maybe a 2-month break of PoE as a gamer might really excite you no matter what they put out. But if you're disgruntled from what the game was like, a 2-month break, you're still going to be disgruntled when you come back and, you're not going to pay up. So I just kind of came to the thought where it's like, man, they really can't do that. Even though we've been asking for it, even though a lot of really great stuff has come out, they probably can't afford to do it very much. So it was just a thought I had.
It's true, though.
I'm excited to see what the next league's like. We're still a month and a half away, but I don't know. If this was their fix-it league, next league, I can't wait.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be a big thing. And I do like the stuff that they just fixed this league. So
awesome.
That's good for them going forward.
It'll be the things that we take for granted, in 3 months, 6 months, like how the video card uses its stuff, all the quality of life features, the mouse stuff, like just all this kind of stuff. In 1 year, we're going to think back and in our minds, it'll have always been like this. You know what I mean? But they're building blocks for stuff that are going to be so huge in the future, stuff that we'll never know about. We're not coders. We don't know how this stuff works. So it's exciting. I think it's really cool.
I agree. All right, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap up episode 84, Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, a.k.a. Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patreons, we catch you guys in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll catch you in episode 85. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. You can go there and leave us a message if you'd like, even a voice message if you want. Just be kind, you dickheads. We also have Twitter, foreverexiled82.
Because it hurts. It hurts. Even if you have skin, thick skin, it still hurts.
Yeah, people are jerks. I love you, Ty. What else? We got Discord. Come on, Discord. Don't come on Discord with that, because we are a very friendly group in Discord.
No, come. We haven't banned anybody yet. Come all. Everybody come.
I don't want to ban somebody.
I do.
And what else have we got? Oh, Patreon. If you're looking for information about Patreon, you can find it down below. Gets you access to After Dark. We'll catch everybody else in episode 85. Thanks for listening.
Love ya.